Hey, do you want to join my secret fertilizer club? Well, congrats, you're in. Urine is the fertilizer. In my opinion, urine is the second best fertilizer on earth. It's free, it's easy to use, so here are the supplies that you're gonna need to use urine effectively in your garden. It's pretty simple. You're gonna need a 5-gallon bucket. If you're a lady, I recommend a wide mouth mason jar. This is a pro tip from my mom. For you gentlemen out there, you have a omnidirectional fertilizer applicator that is just well suited for the 5-gallon bucket. Also, you're going to need a human who pees. I'm hoping that's you. Next, you're gonna need a handy dandy watering can. And finally, you're gonna need a non-chlorinated water source so that you can mix that with the fertilizer. I'll explain why chlorine is so bad for your garden later on in this video. Okay, those are the supplies you need to use urine as a fertilizer. Now, let's step into my online gardening classroom where I'm gonna show you exactly how to use this fertilizer effectively, as well as some of the safety precautions to take. And if you're interested, we have some more advanced tips on how to use urine and maximize the potential of the urine to grow big, amazing plants and awesome harvests. Check this out. Hey, it's James Fry with GrowEverywhere.com. You've probably heard that urine is extremely high in nitrogen, and as you know, nitrogen is one of the primary building blocks in all plant life. Also has potassium, phosphorus, and trace minerals, all of which are pretty important for those crops you're growing in your garden to grow strong and healthy. That's why number 1 is my number 2 favorite fertilizer. Some crops like corn are big nitrogen hogs, and they're gonna need extra nitrogen to grow big and tall, and so urine is an excellent option if you want tall, fast-growing corn with beautiful ears to harvest in the fall. Obviously, you don't want to put chemicals on your plants, you want a safe organic solution, and luckily urine is exactly that. So here's how you make this powerful fertilizer step by step. First, I use my very high-tech urinal here and fill the bucket with 1 urination. For you ladies out there, my Master Gardener mom says a wide mouth mason jar works great to collect your urine. Simply transfer the urine from the jar into the bucket. Next, we add water. I dilute it with water to about 20 parts water and 1 part urine. If you're using the same high-tech 5-gallon urinal, you should fill it with water to about 1/5 full, so that's roughly 1 gallon of water. Now, the measurement doesn't need to be exact, but you do need to dilute it in order to avoid burning your plants. Be sure you use clean, non-chlorinated water because chlorine kills the microbial life in your soil, which are needed to break down the ammonia into plant available nitrogen, or PAN, so your plants can use it. If you're using city water from the hose, be sure to check out my other video with a few simple and low-cost ways to eliminate chlorine from your garden water supply, and why chlorine is going to reduce the growth of your plants if you don't get it out of there. Next, I will sometimes add a few special growth-boosting supplements to the water before I feed the plants, and you can check out the link in the description of this video to learn more about what I'm adding, why it boosts plant health, and where to get it. After that, I simply transfer the liquid gold mixture into my watering can, and now it's ready to use. Now, don't be the village idiot and pour this urine plus water mixture directly on top of your plants. 1, it will evaporate and your plants won't be able to use it, and 2, it's got pee in it, remember? And you're gonna eat this stuff, so don't do it. That's gross. Instead, pour a small amount of the mixture at the base of each of your plants. Don't overdo it. A small application for each plant will be sufficient. It is very high in nitrogen. Finally, use clean, non-chlorinated water and water in the liquid gold by giving each plant a drink. This helps push the liquid gold and all the nitrogen down to the roots of the plants where it can be converted into nutrients, increasing your plant's health, vigor, and growth speed. Okay, that's how you use it. Now, let's talk about the elephant garlic in the room. Many of you watching might be wondering, but James, is it safe? Yes, urine is totally safe to use. In fact, if you let urine incubate in a bottle for 2 weeks, it denatures into almost pure ammonia. Ammonia is a cleaning product and kills germs and bacteria. Ancient cultures used boiled down urine to effectively treat wounds for centuries. And I know that sounds gross, but it's true. There is one safety consideration to keep in mind, however, and it's this. Do you take pharmaceutical drugs? If so, trace pharmaceuticals will transfer from your urine and the plants can uptake these. So if you're sharing your bountiful harvest with others and you have an important medication you just can't live without, you don't want other people consuming trace amounts of that medication. So I recommend using donor urine from a friend or family member. Alternatively, there is a very powerful fertilizer my students who don't want to use urine love, and it's actually my number 1 favorite fertilizer that works even better than urine, and there's a link to it in the description of this video. Check that out if you want fast, abundant growth without using urine, or you can even mix it with urine for increased results. Okay, that's really the only safety concern with liquid gold. Let's dig into some of the advanced methods for making urine an even more potent fertilizer. First, First is incubation. For best results, I personally like to store my urine for 2 weeks before applying it. The reason I do this is because when urine leaves your body, it's mostly urea, which is a more complex form of nitrogen. As it sits in the bottle without oxygen, it denatures or breaks apart into ammonia. This ammonia is more easy for microbes to break down and quickly convert into PAN, or plant available nitrogen. So for best results, let that urine sit for 2 weeks in a sealed bottle. Also, do your family a favor, throw a label on it that says garden fertilizer and store it with your other garden supplies so your family doesn't think you're weird, or in my case, even weirder than I already am. Second is fermentation. Another way to improve the viability of urine as a fertilizer is to ferment it. This laboratory study found that urine, when lacto-fermented for 36 days, had an increased nitrogen content of up to 30%, meaning it was much more potent. They also found it had less odor, and I bet researchers appreciated that after opening a bottle of urine after 36 days. Lacto-fermentation is pretty simple. You just have to get some lactobacillus culture and add it to a large jar of urine. Leave a small amount of airspace in the jar so it doesn't explode, because that would be gross. If you want to get serious about it and make potent liquid gold fertilizer at large scale, you can use actual fermentation equipment used for making beer or mead. Urine is a powerful fertilizer. So powerful, in fact, that farmers in African nations and India are using it to replace expensive petrochemical fertilizers peddled to them by evil corporations. In one study, they found that simply adding urine and wood ash to the soil increased the yield of beets by 20% compared to the same beets grown with conventional fertilizer. So please, do not support big evil corporations who try to sell you nasty chemical fertilizers at Home Depot. You don't need them. Please use urine in the way I've shown you here, and use other organic supplements, soil amendments, and fertilizers. I've added a few links to some of the organic fertilizers I use to get mustard greens bigger than my head, dozens of huge delicious squashes, and fennel bulbs bigger than my son's noggin. If you want more information on those other organic fertilizers and amendments, please check out the links in the description of this video below. I'm James Fry with GrowEverywhere.com. I can't wait for you to try urine as a fertilizer and start getting better harvests, and have your friends and family bestow the title of Green Thumb upon you, all with your little secret, liquid gold. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep growing.